Yo guys, Max here. In this video I'm going to show you how to text a girl from the very first time you meet her through the few dates that you have with her to the point when you can eventually say that, okay, by now you are in a relationship with her. So to do this, we're gonna take, for example, a girl I met around the end of last year. This is a girl I met in a club. Very funny story, by the way. This girl I met when I was in a club while she was actually sitting on the lap of another guy. And so the way I met her was by going up to her, grabbing her wrist, and while looking at her in the eyes, telling her to stand up, to ask her a random question. Like, I don't even remember the question, to ask her a random question about the tattoo that she had on her back. At the time, she was a little bit pissed because she told me later on that the first night I met her, on that night, she had been harassed by guys the whole night. No wonder she's very, very hot. And so I made her stand up and I started talking with her. Things went well, so on and so forth. We ended up spending the night together, sleeping together. I brought her home, I pulled her back home. And this is after this first night that we started having the text conversation that I'm going to show you. But before I show you those text messages, I want to bring your attention to the fact that the first interaction that you have with a girl matters a lot. If she likes you when you first meet her, if you give her a good time, and even better, if you pull her home and you have sex with her, you will have way better chances that all the text messages that you're going to send her after go way better. Like, the whole interaction is going to be smoother. The most attraction you managed to generate between you and her, the smoother your text conversation is going to be. I am so tired. This is not even 2 p.m. and I am so tired. I've started going to the gym early these days and like my body can't. It feels amazing, but my body can't. Anyways, so on the very first screenshot, you can see she sent me a message. This is just the continuation of the conversation we had the first time we met. Like the first night that we spent together, we talked about yogurt. And so the key is that your conversation with her text messages with a girl is just going to be the logical continuation of what you discussed with her in real life. It's way smoother to restart the conversation by mentioning a detail that you mentioned in your first real life conversation. It makes the whole thing more natural and smooth and genuine. Anyways, she sent me this text while she was in the taxi on the way back home. Once she arrives home, she tells me that she is home. That's okay. Some girls care, some girls don't care. So I just go with the flow of the conversation, and I'm not a savage. I'm not going to ignore the fact that she tells me that she's home after we had sex. So I tell her, good, I'm drinking coffee right now just for the sake of continuing the conversation. Because what guys will do very often is that they will sleep with a girl or they will meet a girl and the girl will try to further the conversation over text, and the guy will be very blunt, very down to earth, very, if I don't have anything to talk about, I'm not going to further the conversation. But if you do this, your conversations are going to be very dry, very cold. And over text messages, it's not the best. Like, I'm not telling you that you should go and tell the story, like the whole story of your life through text messages. Of course, don't do that. This is very bad. But you can make it a little bit smoother by adding a few details here and there. So we continue the conversation and she tells me that she doesn't drink coffee, so I ask her whether or not she likes coffee. See, it's very inconsequential of a conversation, but at the same time, it's a very low effort. What you are going to do when you text girls this way is show them that you appreciate talking with them, but at the same time that you have a life, that you have things to do. Next screenshot, immediately she changes topic because, again, the goal is not to drill down on a specific topic. The goal is just to have a conversation that's light and that furthers on a very superficial level the understanding that we have of each other, to see whether or not we are both liking talking together, communicating together, and leading this somewhere eventually, maybe later, to another date. And so that's going to be the key there, because she's not going to be the one leading to a second date. If I want a second date, I have to be the one making the second date happen. Here, and this is very important, the way you get from a pull home from the bar to a second date is the same way you go from meeting a girl, not having sex with her, and getting her on a first date after. In other words, the way you are going to get a first official date is the same whether or not you slept with her for fun after a night out the first time. For example, if you get the contact of a girl that you meet on the street during the day, you're going to text her starting from this point in my example. You're going to text her in the same way to get that first quote-unquote official date again. And I say quote unquote, because it should not be too pompous. It should not be too official. The point of a date is not to have this amazing, extremely extraordinary moment between you and a girl. It's just to find a time when she's free and you're free, and when you guys can spend some time together to further this connection between you and her. So in short, there is no need to invite girls to a fancy restaurant or anything like that. Just find something that's low pressure that you guys will both enjoy doing together and go there with her. So you can see here, very simple, I am pushing for a date by asking her when she's free. Now in this introduction, she told me on the first time we met that she only had time during the day after 8 p.m. And for some reason, she really insisted on that fact, because she told me the last few guys she dated, they were always asking to see her. So she was afraid I would be like super needy again. This goes to show how bad your competition is and how you can stand out when you have a little bit of game and when you understand female psychology. Anyways, moving on, I ask her what she does Sunday after work. She tells me that she has no plans, so that's great. I can ask her out. She asks me whether I have plans, but that's kind of inconsequential. Again, this is just her trying to further the conversation because she really liked me and she wants to help me. You will notice that when girls enjoy spending time with you, they will make it super easy for you to lead to a date. They are still not going to lead to a date for you, but they will help you do it. They will make it super easy for you. So she asks me whether I have any plans. I tell her my plan is to play pool with her. You might call this smooth. That is indeed quite smooth, but in a sense, that's not gonna make a difference. I just found it funny, so I said it. She likes it. She says yes. Then fast forward the time of our date. There are a few screenshots there that I didn't include because it was mostly logistics. So for the sake of her privacy, I didn't share it. But I tell her where we meet. I tell her when we meet. She agrees with everything. That's cool. We agreed on meeting at 9 p.m. 9 p.m. arrives. She's not there. I wait a little bit. Eventually, 7 minutes later, I tell her, is everything okay? She doesn't reply. 15 minutes later, I sent her the Z because I was literally falling asleep waiting for her reply. And eventually, fucking forever later, she tells me that, I am on my way. It was raining. So by this point, and that's a little bit off topic, but it's important because it will happen to you quite sometimes. So by this point, I didn't want to see her anymore. I have standards, and you should too. A girl who makes me wait for 30 minutes, I don't want to see her unless she has a really strong reason why. So in this situation, I ask her why she's so late. I ask her why she's behaving outside of my boundaries and my standards to know whether or not she's worth pursuing, to know whether or not she's basically worth my time. So it's very important here. I'm not butthurt, but still I try to uphold my standards and my boundaries. So I'm going to figure out why she's so late. Maybe she has a legit reason. And that will be too bad to discard a hot girl who actually really likes me just because she's late. Maybe something happened. So she told me it started raining in her area, and in the city I was in at the time when I met her, whenever it's raining, you can't find a taxi. Like, it takes forever to find a taxi. Then I tell her that she made me wait and like she could have warned me. I just want to make sure that she's not messing with me or wasting my time. And she says that she's sorry. Basically, that's what I'm looking for. I'm looking for her to realize that her bad behavior was a problem for me. And so she realizes it and she says, okay. And this is so funny because moving forward a few dates we had after, I was actually the one who ended up being a little bit late, not 30 minutes late, like 5 minutes late. But after this time, she never was late to meet me. Most of the time, she will actually arrive before the time of our date. So this goes to show how important it is to set your boundaries in a way that's not butthurt. Don't forget that, but to set your boundaries just to show girls that you respect yourself and that if they want to be a part of your life, they will have to meet your boundaries. If they don't want to meet your boundaries because they don't give a shit about you, because they don't care, or because it goes against their principles, that's fair. But at least you know that she's not a girl for you. So eventually she arrives, and at this point I tell her I'm going to choke her and push her against the wall, then have angry sex with her just for fun and also because she was being late. And I wanted to show her that I was not butthurt about the fact that she was late, and I tried to make it a little bit sexual. It's not super easy to convey those things over text messages. There I tried. She didn't get it. She just gave me the skull emoji. Whatever. It doesn't matter. She was there already. I just walked a little bit further while passing time. So I told her, give me 10 minutes and I'm coming back. We had a date. It went very well. We slept together. She went back to her house. And a few days later, I restarted the conversation by again mentioning something that we discussed when we were together, the fact that she has multiple cats. She has a Maine Coon, which is amazing in my opinion. I love those cats. Anyways, I commented on one of her stories by telling her that once she's done playing with her cats, she can drink the whey protein to get big muscles, because she told me that her cats were so big that just lifting her cats and taking care of her cats was working out for her. So see, this is how you play with things that girls told you earlier and how you can restart the conversation with that. Callback humor works very well. On top of that, I sent her a photo because it shows that you're more genuine when you send photos. It's a very low effort way to add more life to your conversations with girls over text. Then she reacts to the way I started the conversation. Then she reacts to the joke I made. And I continued this light banter. Again, the point is to have this light, superficial banter conversation so that the way you lead towards a date is smooth. If you're just like, hey, let's meet tomorrow at 5 at this place, and your whole text conversation is this, it's not gonna work out. It's too robotic. And when you're being too robotic, when you talk to other people, it just shows that you're uncomfortable and that you don't really know what you're doing. So make it a little bit smooth by adding this banter in between your logistical texts. In between your texts that are leading to a date, try to have some fun with your interaction. Don't rush things. Of course, don't send a huge text, don't send huge paragraphs to tell the whole story of your life, because this is super fucking needy and girls will just like run away. This is the instant panty dryer. Don't send huge, high effort text messages. Send low effort, funny, light text messages in between your other messages that are going to lead towards a date. Anyways, then I made another joke telling her that I can carry her. This is just because I can, because she's what, like 45 kilograms. I'm sorry if you're from the US, I don't know how much pounds that is, but she's very light, so I can carry her around. Usually when a girl knows that you can quote unquote manhandle her, it makes her feel safe because she knows that physically you can, again, quote unquote, protect her. This is as caveman as it gets, but girls like it. So if you can play with it, if you can afford to play with it, go ahead. Anyways, the point is I'm keeping this conversation light, fun, but also a little bit sexual with messages like that. I don't want to become her friend. She has to know that there is sexual tension in this conversation, and with innuendos like that, with subtext like that, it really helps. This is how you are going to banter with girls while you lead towards a date. So in the next conversation, I am again pushing towards something that's more logistical. I'm pushing for a Wednesday date. How does she react? She's going to say yes because she likes the relationship we're having so far. She likes every date that we're having so far. This conversation is light, not cringe, not needy, not creepy. There is no way she's going to say no. If she ever says no, she's not gonna say no anyways, because first, girls don't say no, they ghost. And if there is a problem, like a logistical problem, like maybe she has too much work or she has to see her sister who's just coming to town, she's gonna give me the objection and she's going to tell me that there is something preventing her from meeting me that I can possibly solve. Very often you will see that when a girl likes you, but she says no, it's not really a no, it's a I want to, but I can't, please solve this problem. Anyways, this was not the case here. She was available. And the way I invite her to eat pizza is first by pushing for the idea of a pizza date, because I don't want her to be on a date with me if she doesn't like to eat pizza. I don't want to be the only one eating the pizza and having her watch me. First, I will feel uncomfortable and then she will feel uncomfortable and we're gonna have a bad time. So remember, when you make dates happen, always find a middle ground between what you like and what she likes. I just know that some girls don't like pizza, so I prefer to play it safe and I push for the idea of a pizza first to see how she reacts. She actually ends up liking pizza. I invite her, I set the time, I set the place, which was actually my place. She came over, we ate pizza, we had sex, we had a great time. A few days after, she restarts the conversation by telling me, "Hi, Max." I reply, "Hello, my favorite." Again, we are in this idea of keeping the conversation flirtatious, sexual, and basically taking risks, because this is not something that you're going to send to your female friends. It's too risky to send to your female friends. And that's another important thing. The fact that she allows you to send risky messages that you couldn't send to your friends is going to reinforce the frame of your guys flirting together. Very often, guys are going to send text messages to girls that are too tame and safe, and that's not very good. You want to take the risk of her telling you, "Whoa, what are you doing? This is too forward for me right now." Because the fact that she complies with you moving things forward, the fact that she complies with you being sexual in your text conversations is a clear sign that she likes you, that she wants your interaction and your relationship to continue being the way it is, to continue being sexual, to continue being flirtatious. Long story short, she likes it when we flirt, so that's a great sign that she's enjoying the relationship we are building, the relationship that we are starting so far. So she's gonna say that it's so sweet, so that's even more of a positive. Very nice. It's not necessary, but that's even more of a positive. Then I ask her when she's free again. You don't always have to banter forever. I usually take time to banter a little bit more in my text conversations when I'm very busy and I don't know when I will be able to see her again. Because there is no point talking to a girl you're not going to be able to see. Usually when you can't see a girl or you don't know when you're available to see her, it's better to banter a little bit to show her that you're still this fun guy she can flirt with. But you don't need to text with a girl more than that if you can't see her. If you know when you're available, if you know when you can't see her, just move forward. Don't make it too dry. Once again, banter a little bit, but you don't need to banter a lot. Then I proposed pizza again because we had a great time last time, and when we actually ate pizzas together for the first time, we discussed how we should together try another kind of pizza. So again, call back to something that happened in the past when I met her, and she agrees with that. Eventually, she comes again. We go to the gym together. We don't eat pizza for whatever reason, I don't remember, but we ate something else. Then she went back home in the middle of the night because she had work early. Once she's home, she sends me photos. She sends me photos of her cat being molten on the floor because we discussed about her cats, and I told her I want to see what her cats look like when we met. Fast forward a few days, I want to see her again because I really like her. And by the way, this is something that you should ask yourself when you start having a few dates with a girl. Do you actually even want to see her again? Do you enjoy the dates you're having with her? It might be a better idea to meet more girls. There, for instance, I really liked her. I really had a great time when I was dating her. She's emotionally and physically really my type. So I wanted to spend more time with her. We had a little bit of a conversation that I don't show here, but that I restarted in the same way I restarted the conversation earlier, like I explained a few times already. A few days later, she asked to borrow one of my tripods. So she's the one who initiated the conversation by telling me that she wanted to borrow one of the tripods I have. And I think this is a great example of how you can further your relationship with a girl just by being helpful and being a nice person. Because very often we talk about how do I create attraction, how do I get her to chase me. If there is only chasing, you're not going to build a genuine relationship. Eventually, you have to bring something to the table more than the fact that you're a cool guy who gets girls to chase. So I invite her to come over again. I tell her I'm going to order some Korean food and that we can eat it together. She is taking a shower. She's saying it's perfect. She's just coming over, and it's very simple. You will notice that the more you meet a girl, the more you progress the relationship, the easier it becomes to get her to come out, and the more straightforward your interaction when you ask her to come to see you is. Another screenshot here, it's just me restarting the conversation by being very low-key. And see, that's the thing there. The more you're going to progress this relationship with this girl, the less effort you're going to have to put into actually getting her out of the house to meet you. There it's very, very simple. Me saying her name, reminding her that we're being flirtatious by calling her baby girl, and immediately after pushing for the logistics to see if it's possible to meet her. There is still some smoothness in it. It's not dry, but it's to the point and it goes way faster to that point. Eventually, I don't show it here, but I led that to a date. Very simple, time, place, okay, let's do it, let's make it happen. We went to play darts, and we went to eat Chinese food. After we went back to my place, we had sex. And over text messages, this is the conversation that happened after. You can see there is still this banter about what happens between her and me when we met. For instance, there we went back to my place, we had sex, and she was making fun of me for the fact we just had sex one time while she wanted more, but actually she fell asleep right after. So this is some humor between her and me, and this is what we are going to discuss over text messages. That's the last screenshot I have to show you here. So to recap a little bit all that we discussed, make sure, very, very extremely important, make sure that at the core, during the very first interaction that you have with this girl, you generate some attraction. You make sure that she likes you. And once that's done, you generate a little bit of trust. I say it all the time, but it seems to be what everyone thinks is the actual right way to meet a girl. Don't just go up to a girl to be like, hey, I really like you. By the way, what's your Instagram? It's never gonna work. You need to do more than that to generate attraction. If you want girls to genuinely be into you and chase you and look forward seeing you again, you have to generate this attraction, and this can't happen if you don't spend at least a few minutes talking with them the first time you meet them. So the best way to do that is to have a system that you follow to make sure that you're going to generate attraction and also trust when you first meet a girl. If you don't have a system yet, I'm going to put mine in the description right below this video. Click on it and go check it out. But that's what you should do every time you meet a girl. Make sure that the very first interaction that you have with her is solid. If you don't, well, even with the best text game in the world, what's going to happen after is going to be way less smooth and way more random. Either way, assuming that this is a girl who has at least a positive opinion of you, leading to a date is not super difficult as long as you don't make cringe mistakes and that you focus on what you guys discussed when you first met. This is also why it's very important that when you first meet a girl, you make your conversation about seeing her again, and you tell her that I'm gonna text you, I'm taking your contact because I'm going to organize a date between you and me. You don't have to say it exactly in this way, but this is the idea that you have to convey, that you're taking her contact and that you're going to send her text messages because you want to make another meet happen. If you actually slept with her the first time you met her, you can be even more chill and just reference something that you guys discussed when you first met. After that, it's about being fun and light and playful and just making another date happen by pushing for logistics, seeing when she's available, seeing what she likes to do to very quickly make another meetup happen. Don't get to know her over text messages. That's the point. There is absolutely no need to do that. On top of that, make sure that the sex is good. I didn't mention it earlier, but you have to figure out a way to make the girl you're dating come. Not just once, multiple times. Because at the end of the day, if she likes to spend time with you, if she's attracted to you, like she genuinely thinks and feels that you're an attractive guy, and on top of that, every time she has sex with you, she loves it, there is no way, first, that she's gonna want to meet another guy, and also that she's going to say no when you ask to see her again. So find ways to make her come. At the end of the day, if you're able to lead the relationship, to make her feel comfortable around you, to make her feel good emotions around you, to stay attractive in her eyes, and on top of it all, to set strong but fair boundaries, texting her towards a more long-term relationship is gonna be a breeze. Now I want to talk a little bit about mistakes that I see guys make all the time when they start a relationship. So first thing that happens all the time is the guy trying not to take risks and trying to look mysterious and cool. Here's the thing, if you're too cold and you don't flirt with her, she's gonna see that you're uncomfortable and she's not gonna want to go on a date with you. It's just so much more attractive for women, a guy who is charismatic because he's not afraid to take risks and to lead to what he wants while showing his personality. If you try to be cold and inexpressive and mysterious, it's not mysterious. Like, bro, I'm sorry if this is what you do, but this is not mysterious. This is lame and everyone knows it. I know a lot of guys have a strong ego around that, but the truth is girls know. Girls know that guys who don't talk a lot, who sit behind their table with a pouty face, are not cool guys. It's guys who have a huge ego and who are too uncomfortable to challenge that by truly being themselves. So I know I'm gonna get hate because I say that, but whatever. That's the truth. Second mistake I see all the time is being needy in the way you text and trying super hard to make a date happen. So in terms of being needy, avoid sending long messages. I mentioned it already. Try to stay light and superficial. And in terms of trying to make a date happen all the time, give her some space. Like I mentioned also, very first time we met, she told me that guys were so annoying because they were always pushing to see her and that she needed some space. Okay, cool. Ideally, you should be the one who needs more space than she needs, so that she's the one who's actually chasing you. And the best way to do this is to enter a situation of abundance by actually meeting more women. Last mistake I see too often is failing to lead your dates in a fun and positive way, in a fun and carefree way. That is to say, if you only see girls to have sex with them, they are going to pick up on that very quick. They will enjoy the dates way less. Even if they like the sex with you, they will just feel that there is something missing in the relationship. Some girls are very fine with the fact that it's just a friends with benefits kind of situation. But the most intense and deep relationships are going to be there with girls that you really connect with on an emotional level, on top of connecting with them on a sexual level. Simply put, I've noticed that the best relationships are the relationships in which you're able to build this emotional connection on top of a strong chemical attraction type of connection where you guys just want to fuck the brains out of each other all the time. But a relationship in also you guys can share a deep emotional connection just because you enjoy hanging out with each other. Eventually, me and her broke up because I didn't text her for legit like a full month. And she at first was quite sad and then she moved on. That's fair enough. I hope now she's happy. I wish her the best. But overall, this is how you're going to start a relationship and this is how you're going to text girls to start this relationship the right way. If you enjoyed this video, consider subscribing and tell me what you thought about it in the comments below. Take care and I will see you guys next time.